What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me. Now, I know I said in the last video that you guys were going to be joining me for my first startup. I'd be lying to you if I said this was going to be the engine's first startup, because it's not. This is actually going to be the engine's third startup. My first startup was already done along with my second startup, and I will say one thing: I had to adjust the carburetor because this thing was so rich from the factory it would not run. Like it hydrolocked itself constantly. I had to adjust it. So it is adjusted. It still runs very rich, as you will see. Now I will go over my braking procedure very quickly, very briefly. Tank 1, normally I don't preheat my engines. This one, however, I did have to preheat just to loosen the tolerance up. That's about the only time I would preheat, if the tolerances need to be. Some people preheat. I don't. That's just my personal braking procedures, how I've always done it. So tank 1 is the vehicle idling at a high idle for about a half tank, or sorry, for a full tank. And then after that, the engine cools down for half hour to 40 minutes to really let the thing cycle and to, again, to get the heat cycle going. Tank 2, which is also I've already completed, which would be running the truck from idle to quarter throttle on figure eights up and down the street in a straight line, being modulating with the throttle to not keep it at a constant throttle. Then once again, letting it cool down for half hour to 40 minutes. And very important, you never want to let the tank run out of fuel. You don't want the engine to starve out of fuel. During braking, when I have to shut them down, I always block the exhaust. You can pinch it. I don't recommend that, because when you pinch it, especially during braking, you're starving the engine of fuel and oil. Now, tank 3 is what we're going to do today. Tank 3 is idle to half throttle. Again, modulating the throttle throughout its power band. You don't want to keep it at a constant throttle. Now my tank 4 and tank 5, tank 4 goes to 3/4 throttle, again allowing it to cool. And then once again, tank 5, I go up to full throttle, modulating the throttle and still allowing it to cool. Now, after that, some people will say your engine is broken in. I actually go for about another 10 tanks, modulating the throttle, allowing the engine to cool, to really tap into that heat cycle. Now, while I'm under braking, this is the fuel that I run. I run Traxxas Top Fuel. The reason why I run Traxxas Top Fuel, 20% nitro, and it has a very high oil content. Traxxas does not say what the oil content is, but I can tell you it has to be at least 18 to 20% oil, possibly more. There's a lot of oil in this fuel. Now, once my braking is complete, my fuel is Byron's 3011, 30% nitro, 11% oil. This is the fuel that I run once they are fully broken in. So, with that said, we're going to end this, and we're going to start this puppy up. We're going to fill it up with fresh nitro fuel, and we're going to fire it up. So hang tight, guys. All right, guys, let's bring them to life.